I think fear is actually a really good indicator. Obviously, there's a level of it that's there to keep us safe. Everything that we want is on the other side of fear.
Hello and welcome to the Go Encourage podcast, where I talk to real people about real life, trying to gain some insight around their experiences building courage. On today's episode, I'm going to be joined by Jessica Barker, who is a holistic practitioner in the wellness space. Before we get to that, just a reminder, if you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button and follow on Spotify, if that's where you get your podcast from, or Apple Podcasts, and of course on YouTube, if you like watching podcasts and seeing who is on the other side of that mic. So if you haven't done that already, please go and do that. It makes a huge difference in terms of building the platform. All right, so we're going to get Jessica in and we're going to see what kind of insights she can give us around her experiences. Hello, Jessica. Welcome to the Go Encourage podcast. Really pleased that you're joining me today. How are you?
I'm really good, thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I'm going to ask you your first question, which, if you haven't guessed by now, because I know you're an avid listener of this podcast, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I've listened to many.
Amazing.
Now. Yeah.
Thank you. You found them insightful?
I did, yeah.
I'm doing some feedback now. So you'll know that the first question I usually ask people is, what does your name mean? So what does Jessica mean?
So it means gift from God, or God beholds.
God beholds.
I believe that's what some of the terms are, yeah.
Okay, amazing. That's a big name, isn't it?
I know.
And I think you were saying to me that it comes from a Hebrew word of, is it Iska?
Yeah.
Jessica, makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think there's insight involved in that as well.
Yeah, vision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Does that mean anything to you? Just in terms of, like, I know we're going to get into it, but does that mean anything to you in terms of the kind of work that you do? In terms of insight, vision?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it represents what I do quite well in terms of the coaching side of things. So I'm a life coach, and particularly working with insight coaching. So coaching for insight from the client.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it ties in quite well.
Okay, cool. And I know we're going to unpack some of that,
Yeah.
I'm excited to go down that road. Can you tell us where you're from originally? What were your family dynamics? What town are you from?
So I grew up around Woking.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I live now as well. And I did spend some time abroad, though, over my adult life recently. But yeah, landed back in Surrey.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in quite a close family dynamic, one of four, and two older sisters and a younger brother.
Okay.
Quite a big gap, 10 years difference between me and my sisters.
Right.
And my brother's just a few years younger than me. And we grew up in a really loving home, lots of support, lots of care, very privileged. And yeah, my mum and dad both work for themselves.
Oh, cool.
Mostly. And yeah, self-employed, really hardworking parents.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Do you think you got that, because you're self-employed as well, do you think you got that from them looking backwards?
Definitely. Yeah. I definitely have got that quality, especially both from my mum and dad, but definitely my dad has always been a bit of an entrepreneur. He's had his hands in many different jobs over the years. And yeah, I think I get that strength and that ability through him, and the want to be different and follow a different path and kind of determine life on my own terms.
I love that. There's a real sense of intentionality around it, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just going with whatever the mainstream does. Not to say that mainstream can't be amazing as well, but it's great that you've had that sort of journey. Yeah.
The intentionality is really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to be able to do something meaningful and something that like fires me up is everything.
Okay. And thinking back to when you were young, I don't know. I don't know what age. I never know what age to ask people this, but 8, 10, 12, when you were quite young, did you aspire to be something when you grew up? Okay. Oh, you're nodding your head. There's a story.
Well, I was actually thinking about this recently, and I don't remember aspiring to be anything as a young girl. as such. It was more as I got older, just when you're having to make the decision of where to go next after finishing school.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started to think, and I don't think I really knew even then. However, I did have an idea of what I wanted to do. So actually, I wanted to be a makeup artist.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So my dad worked in the film industry.
Right.
And I actually got a little bit of work experience working on the makeup set.
Are you allowed to say where?
On Hot Fuzz, the film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With is it Sean? Locke. No, not Sean.
No.
Pegg. Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
Sean. I was
Locke.
way off. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Oh, I love Sean Locke. Anyway, yeah. Simon Pegg.
Sorry, yeah.
Hot Fuzz.
So that was my initial idea. However, I changed my mind when I started to look into courses and what that job entailed, and I decided to broaden what I was going to do, and I studied beauty therapy.
Okay.
So that is what I started in my career.
That's amazing, because I did that as well. I got qualification and everything. No, I'm kidding.
So 18 years ago now, and studied beauty therapy and covered many different modalities. And then for me, massage and working with the body was what I felt I was called toward, and that really I resonated with mostly out of everything.
What was the connection from beauty therapy to massage therapy?
So I did massage within that. So it wasn't just what some people might consider as just beauty. It was actually more of a holistic version of that. So I did a lot of facials, skincare, using high-tech technology as well on the skin, worked in some predominantly skin clinics and working with laser. I took different paths down that one industry, so I looked differently. And then I found eventually what I loved the most, which is the holistic side.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so now I only do that.
So can you tell us where you've landed? What do you do?
Yeah, so it's been a journey. So now I would consider myself a holistic practitioner in the wellness space. And under that umbrella comes yoga teacher, sound healing practitioner.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Sound healing, did you say?
Sound healing, yeah. So I run retreats now as well. I'm a massage therapist, so I've continued that work. And I'm a life coach.
And a life coach as well. So you're not very busy.
Yes, it takes all of my attention, but I love it. I love the variety.
Can you break some of those down? So should we start with the yoga teacher, did you say first? Yeah.
So I teach mainly yin yoga. And yin yoga, if you think of yin and yang being opposites, yang is the masculine energy, yin is the feminine. So yin is all about the slow downness.
Right.
Keeping the body still, working with the breath, moving deeply into the body. Pairs really, really well with sound healing because you're still, you're open to receiving, you're meditating effectively on the body, on the sensations.
Right.
You're becoming aware of the mind and the emotions. So it's a very, it's a practice to build self-awareness as well. And it's what we all need. We all live in this yang dominant lifestyle and way of life, and we all need to balance out the yin.
Can I just unpack that a little bit? So when you say the yang lifestyle, you're talking uber productive, very busy, very driven, that kind of thing? Yeah, exactly. This need to always be doing and being in action, and you know, not allowing rest to be part of that. Whereas we tend to rest when we feel depleted or stressed, and when our body tells us we need it, but often it's a bit too late. So I love my classes because it's time that forces my students to slow down, and immediately as soon as they come into the yurt, because I teach in a beautiful environment. It's in a yurt? It's a Mongolian yurt. Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's on a farm. Okay. And it's surrounded by horses. I don't know what that is. Yeah. So I'll show you a picture after. Like a tent? No, it's a permanent structure. Okay. And it's a dome-like structure. And then there's a skylight at the top. So you can sometimes see the moon when you're laying down. And there's a fire. So it's heated with a log fire. Right. And the acoustics are amazing because of the structure of the yurt.
So yeah,
Cool.
it's beautiful. Yeah, and you can hear the horses.
Right. Getting involved.
Yeah, definitely. They're always talking.
You touched a little bit on sound healing there as well. So can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so using sound for healing capacity. So using instruments such as Tibetan bowls, crystal bowls made of pure crystal quartz, and we're using those to provide this. You're activating the relaxation response through the person listening. So they're just receiving the vibrations, and the vibration is energy. So everything in the universe, us, our thoughts, everything is vibrating on its own unique frequency. And so these instruments, they all have different frequencies.
Right.
And they resonate at different places in the body. And it's just like music. So music has the power to invoke a feeling or a memory. And it could be good, and it could also be not so good. But mostly, if you think about a song that you love, it invokes this feeling of joy. And so you work with harmonious tones, and you might work with more releasing tones that will actually unblock blockages, energy blockages, or emotional blockages in the body.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really powerful.
Sounds like a whole world.
It's a whole world, and it's not just acoustic, the effect. Of course it is, but it works deeper. So it's working on a cellular level in the body. Yeah, super powerful. And it's not a new thing. It's been around for centuries.
Yeah. Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to stay on that, but there's a couple more things, weren't there? So, and then the coaching.
The coaching, yes. So that was a natural progression that I moved into, I think, from studying yoga, which opens up your mind when you start to learn the philosophy that's involved around yoga to, so much, kind of this much greater world and this energetic world that we live in. And so coaching came more recently when I came back to the UK.
Right.
I started my business, and I started to feel that people were really sharing a lot of their struggles and challenges. I think after the pandemic, naturally, people became more open. And so I started to feel like I could offer more, and I wanted to offer more. Like there was something missing from what I was doing, and coaching was always something I thought of. But yeah, not so much in the self-development world. So that's what I do now. But yeah, it's totally what I'm meant for, and it did add that missing piece. So now I feel like I work with all the things that have really helped me along my journey.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have clients that cover all of them, and some people, maybe just one, or it depends where they live. Obviously, the coaching, I can access more people, or I can impact more people.
Amazing. Yeah. Wow. So if you're listening to this and you'd like to connect with Jess, you have to wait till the end of the podcast, right? Because we're going to tell them how to do that.
Sure.
All right. So what I'd like to do is just uncover a little bit about your personality, just so people can get to know you a little bit better, if that's cool. So I've got some quick fire questions. Are you ready for this?
Go for it.
What's your favorite food?
Japanese.
Oh, Japanese. Nice.
Ramen.
Or sushi. Specific, like it. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
iPhone. You're cool. Preferred clothing choice?
So I'm definitely, my whole wardrobe is like earthy kind of colours.
You don't fit the
kind of black now, but
you don't fit the yoga teacher stereotype at all, do you?
Yeah, I'm definitely made to live in a tropical country, wearing linen and beige and earthy sandy tones.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And then favorite place, because you've traveled a little bit, and we're gonna get to that. But
yeah, this is such a hard one for me to answer, because there's so many magical places that I have been lucky enough to be in. But I'm going to say Byron Bay in Australia.
Okay.
It's the most easternly point of Oz. And I did my yoga teacher training there.
Wow.
So it does mean it's a very special place in my heart.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Byron Bay.
And it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. Star sign.
Taurus.
Taurus. Are you into kind of star signs and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I have an interest in astrology, definitely.
Right.
So I'm double Taurus. So sun ascending and then Cancer moon.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend like I know
Main
what you're
one,
saying.
Taurus.
Right,
I'm Taurus. I'm the bull.
You're the bull.
Yeah. Which is an earth sign.
Which is an earth sign. Oh, yeah. Cats or dogs?
Oh, I love both.
Oh.
I had cats mostly growing up, so I'm going to say cats.
You could say both. We'll give you both. Yeah. There's too much polarization in this world, you know, pitting people against each other. You could say both. Yeah. All right. What was the last movie that you watched?
Oh, Saltburn.
Saltburn. Okay.
Yes.
Was it good?
It was amazing. Yeah, amazing.
Right.
I don't even know how to really explain it because you have to see it.
You have to see it. Where can people find that? Is that a Netflix thing?
I think it was Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I watched it last week, so.
Oh, it's fresh.
Yeah.
Is there a current TV show that you're watching at the moment or a book that you're reading?
So I just finished Fool Me Once, which I feel like everyone is talking about at the moment. Michelle Keegan. Right. On Netflix, a series by a very famous author called Harlan Cohen, I think. I might have said it wrong, but really good.
Really good.
8-parter, kind of crime mystery.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. And then, are you spiritual? Do you believe in a God? Do you believe there's a higher power?
Yeah, I would say I'm spiritual, definitely. I'm very open-minded, and I believe in a higher power far greater than me, far greater than you, us, something that goes beyond understanding. I don't know what that is, but I'm open to that energy, and also the energy within us as well.
Right.
Yeah, so staying deeply connected to me and all the layers that make up me.
Right. And then the connection between between the two entities. Let's say.
Sort of the limitless potential of what that energy is.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Deep. Love languages. Have you done the love languages test before?
I have.
Do you know what your top 2 are?
Yes. Physical touch.
Physical touch, yeah.
And words of affirmation.
Nice. Do you know what? I'm going to fist bump you because they're mine as well. And do you feel like that kind of makes sense to you in terms of your relationships with?
Definitely. I think, when was it when I uncovered them or I kind of came across them? Probably a few years ago. And I think in a past relationship, for instance, not having words of affirmation made me realize how important it was for me, the lack of. So I think it's really interesting when you read up into them and you do the quiz, and it's just this level of understanding, a further understanding about yourself and yourself when you're in a relationship.
And it kind of like, you know, we automatically go to the romantic relationships, right? But it kind of is the same with like your parents, your siblings, you know, nieces, nephews, etc. There is this kind of universal way that we can understand how we receive and give love.
Yeah, and I got that from my parents when I was younger. Like we're a huggy family. Yeah.
Good. Are you more of a make things happen sort of person, or do you tend to go with the flow?
So I used to be a bit more go with the flow. And I think definitely recently, over the last couple of years since coming back to the UK and starting my business, which needed this level of focus and make it happen energy to it, I definitely am now. I'm a bit in the middle, I guess, but now it's a balance of both. I know that there's so much I don't have control of, but my actions I do. So for me, taking action in life is important, but there's an element of going with the flow and putting out there to the universe what I want, so it's known, and then also just trusting, I guess, in the process.
I like the word balance. I think
Yeah.
it's really important, isn't it, to have a balance between the two.
Yeah. I know nothing's going to happen if I don't do anything. And things are not just going to come to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Kind of, yeah.
I like it. Everyone loves a good compliment, Jess.
Yeah, of course.
Can you remember a good compliment that someone said about
Words
you?
of affirmation, right?
There you go.
So I get this a lot, I guess, in the yoga setting, that my voice is grounding and calming, and that my presence is that as well. Calming and peaceful. That I have that nature about me.
That's great.
So that's really nice to hear.
That is really good to hear.
Yeah.
You don't bring the drama.
I definitely don't. No, I don't like drama.
You don't like drama?
No.
You just like watching drama TV shows?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and what's a common misunderstanding that people have encountered with connecting with you?
It's a funny one. My age, actually.
Your age?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people think I'm in my 20s.
Right.
And I'm in my 30s.
Okay.
So that's an interesting one. Yeah, they just assume I'm quite young.
Right.
Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. I like it. You know? Getting ID'd, I'm like, yeah, I love that.
I got ID'd, I think it was about 3-4 months ago. And he was like, you need to show us some ID. I was like... These grey hairs should get me in. And then he laughed and he let me in.
Yeah.
So but yeah, what a great compliment as well, though.
Yeah.
Because I know we talk about what people misunderstand about you, but it kind of switches into a compliment.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And hopefully it stays that way, moving on as I get older.
That's what we all want.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to ask you about routines. I think part of building a life of courage is to have some kind of structure. This is my belief, is my opinion. I'm not putting this on you. But I think what's really important for me is building some kind of structure, some kind of routine, which it allows for you to go with the flow, but also, makes things happen. Is there a particular rhythm or a routine that you have put in your life that keeps you sort of moving forward?
I think first and foremost, it's just really important for me to start the day moving.
Right.
My body, and whether that's yoga or a little bit of dancing, putting some music on and just something that's going to liven me up, or the gym. I love going to the gym. I find it a really empowering environment. And I just love moving my body. I think it's really important. If I don't move my body, then everything else becomes a bit like I can't think clearly. And so I like to start the day doing that first before my work.
Get the juices flowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes a big difference up here as well.
Yeah, totally. Like when you get that endorphin rush, there's nothing like it. And what a way to start the day. I just, that's my way. And then I get into my work. But the morning routine looks different every day. So like you said, it's a bit like feeling what I need in the moment.
Right.
So like this morning I journaled and I did some yoga. Obviously having breakfast. Food is a big part of my life.
Food.
So
you did say that off camera, didn't you? That you're a big foodie.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. So it looks different every day, but there'll be my self-care will always look, it's just what I need in the moment. I'll listen and then act. That's
really good, because it's so easy for us just to get on with the day.
Yeah.
And just go, I haven't got time to think about what I'm feeling right now. I need to, get to work, do this deadline, whatever. And then we don't realize, well, at least I'm finding I'm on the journey, but we don't realize what 5 minutes could mean to the rest of your day, to take that time of self-care.
That's a great point. It doesn't have to be a long time, 5-10 minutes makes a huge difference to the rest of your day. And even taking those segments in the day just to like boost your energy, creativity, it makes a big difference. Yeah.
You see some of these big names, coaches, motivational speakers. Tony Robbins comes to mind, a guy called Hal Elrod. Just before they're about to go out and do some speaking, one of them will take a small time of like just some breath work and just ground himself, and then he'll go out. Whereas the other one will get a little trampoline and start jumping on it and get some like movement going in his body as well. Which, you know, if you're not into that stuff or you haven't experienced or put those things in your life, that's quite odd. That's odd. Just get on with it, you know. But it's so important, you know, even at that level, to be able to give yourself a few minutes.
Definitely.
So some evidence to what you're saying. All right. I wanted to ask you the big question. You ready for the big question? What does courage mean to you?
I think to me it means moving towards fear and through it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like the absence of fear. It's going to be there, most likely, but it's moving through it with a certain amount of grace and kind of strength.
So when you say moving towards fear, we're not saying moving towards being scared. We're saying facing it, aren't we?
Yeah. So whatever that courage entails, I feel like normally there's a certain amount of fear involved, and you're just meeting it, moving towards it, moving through it, however slowly you need.
Okay, that's good. And what do you think courage does in terms of how does it unlock things in our lives?
I think it unlocks a certain amount of beauty.
Beauty, okay.
But that's a deep question.
It is a deep question.
Yeah, I think
this is how I wine and dine people first, you know, with the light questions, and then I want the courage.
Yeah, you're building it up. Ask me that question again. Sorry.
So we did. What does courage mean for you? Okay, I'll put it like this. Why do you think courage plays an important part in our lives?
I think that in life you can't navigate away from challenge in a certain extent. And I think the two tie together, go hand in hand. So challenge is always there. And when you're faced with challenge, you need a certain amount of courage to move through it. And I also think that if you want to live a life that's colourful, where you're moving towards growth, if growth is something that's important to you and learning and experience, then you need, and to explore outside of your comfort zone and able to get those things, then you're going to have to develop some amount of courage to move through those things.
And that can happen on a really small scale and a huge scale as well, right? So if you're doing something for the first time, like, can you speak to that a little bit in terms of your experiences?
I love trying new things. I love pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And it's something that I definitely gain so much from. It doesn't mean I enjoy the whole process. But recently, for instance, I started to learn Latin dance. And at first, I found it really hard, of course. I mean, it's still a learning. But, and when I first started, I just didn't go back for a long time. Then I picked it up again and I didn't give up. I think that's key with a lot of things, is like not giving up. And now, you know, I enjoy it. I've let go of the attachment of like having to be perfect, because I think that comes up so much when you're trying something new. You just want to get it. Like, we all just want quick results and it's just not reality. So now, having moved through that process, and there's definitely like fears that came up along the way, because you're dancing with people who are really much further ahead than you. And so there's this thing of like not wanting to look like a beginner and step on their feet, and it just happens. So
and how are you finding that? Have you been doing that for a while, firstly?
Yeah, it's been 3 months now, around that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And are you finding you don't need as much courage?
Yeah, I think that's true. Now, I just, I think there's an element of feeling more comfortable in the environment. You know, I know the people I'm with now is kind of the same crowd that go. It feels like a nice community of people.
Nice.
And everyone is really friendly, and yeah, the learning from other people is amazing. Like dancing with other people who are really advanced, and just generally seeing the progression in yourself is a really empowering feeling.
Empowering, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. What kind of Latin dance is it?
Salsa and bachata.
Salsa and bachata. Okay, my cousin invited me to do some salsa. I
Yeah.
might take her up on it and see
Yeah,
what that's
you
like.
should.
Yeah.
You should.
Coming from like an Indian background as well, dance is a big part of like just our expression.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think dancing is an amazing way of like freeing your body and releasing energy and just like this kind of freedom. Like dancing is freedom in a way.
Yeah. I think going back to lockdown when we were all trying to create some movement and stuff, a bit like what you were saying in the mornings, you try and have a little dance and get moving. That's what I would be doing. I'm like, right, kids, we're going to get some dancing going. Let's go. And getting them up and moving. And, oh, do we have to? Yes. or you can, do some working out, and they chose to dance.
Yeah.
So.
There's actually this dance as well called ecstatic dance.
Ecstatic dance. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds wild.
Yeah, it is actually. It can be, which you can find like, especially in like the yoga conscious community world, where it's a sober dance. So, sometimes when you think of dancing and you're going out and you're having a drink before, but you're not. And it's very much, there's all sorts of rhythms to the music, which changes. It's normally led by a DJ. And there's no right and wrong. You're just dancing, you're feeling the music, you're moving your body in any way, and you're there with kids, you're there with all sorts of people. And it's an amazing feeling where you actually do build ecstatic feeling in you after. So it's amazing.
Probably need some courage to start doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then thinking about the work that you do in terms of sound healing and yoga and coaching, are there patterns that you see in people's life stories as they confront their fears?
I think that commonly they come to these practices when they've reached a point in their life, normally when they're kind of trying to change the narrative around putting themselves more first. So there's a level of self-awareness that something's happened in their life. There's a shift of some kind that has allowed them to kind of, they're like, no more, okay, now I'm going to change. Typically, but it could be anything. There's always a reason why they're coming towards yoga or sound healing, whatever it may be.
I was wondering if there's a particular, something common that you keep seeing, and you're saying they get to a place where they're like, okay, that's enough. I need to work on me.
Yeah. Stress. That's a key word. Too much, not knowing how to manage it. The mind, the nature of the mind. Yeah.
Do you ever have people who overlap into the different things that you do?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've got people that come to my classes. I'm coaching them. They're coming to me for massage. They might come on a retreat as well. It might be across the board.
Okay.
All of the services, all of my offerings. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Is there a particular movie or a book or a certain mindset that inspired you to be more courageous in life?
Yeah. So there's this documentary I watched recently called The Hero's Journey. I think it's called Finding Joe. It's all about the hero's journey in that there's always a hero's journey in any film you watch, or all of our individual stories. There's this cycle of the hero's journey, which involves challenge, courage, overcoming, some kind of mentor or like leader,
a guide,
that's going to help you along the way. And it's this cycle, and then in the cycle and in the circle, there's the known, and then there's the unknown, and the certain and the uncertain, and it's just the cycle of that, and it's always happening in our lives.
And it's everywhere. Like even if you look into scripture or you look at Greek mythology or all sorts of places, you'll find patterns of the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And I was having this conversation recently with someone, and the question is that because we've been designed, like does society design us to see that pattern because that's what we've been fed from a young age, or is it inbuilt to our human experience that dates all the way back to the beginning, whatever the beginning was?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Jess?
I think that in order for us to survive, we need people around us. We need community. I think that's the way we've been built. I'm just thinking about like tribes, for instance, going, we're a bit like that still. We need, the power in community and coming together and seeing people through struggles. And I think we resonate so much with each other. We all go through similar challenges, whatever they may be. And this feeling of I'm not alone when you are able to confide in someone. It's so powerful.
I totally agree. And I think part of, why I do what I do as well is to connect with people and hear from them and gain insight. And maybe we don't have similar experiences and maybe we don't disagree, we don't agree and we can disagree. And it's just fascinating because, like you said, community is a big part of our human experience. You see it, I guess, in your yoga teachings as well. I've seen it, in religious settings and in supporting a football team. There's this tribal element that bands people together.
Yeah. Connection, like you said, connection and community go hand in hand. And I have people that come to yoga and they've made friends now because they've sat next to each other. And it's lovely. Yeah, and on retreats as well.
Are there individuals that come to mind? So this is kind of like where you could, if you wanted to, shout someone out.
Okay.
Are there any individuals that come to mind? Maybe they've been a catalyst to your own growth and courage journey?
Yeah, there's a couple of people that come to mind, actually. I would say my dad is definitely someone that I look up to in terms of his journey through life. And there was a point in his life where he had to really embrace kind of a courageous energy as he was going through something quite hard. So I look up to him. And
you feel like that, sorry, just to press it, you feel like that had an impact on you in seeing the way that he responded to what he was going through?
Yeah, I think so. I think anyone that makes the decision to walk the path where they're being themselves and that they're being who they know they are, whether that brings up stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but
I get it. If I could relay some, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No.
But sometimes we put on this version of ourselves because we think that that's what's needed in society.
Yeah.
And so when we can turn up as ourselves, it's a powerful indicator, not even an indicator, it's a powerful statement to say, I am here, this is me.
Yeah.
And I guess that does invoke a lot of pushback from people, whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ability to be authentic to you more so than to try to be, and it looks differently to other people.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard?
Yeah.
Have you got the answer to that?
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, so your dad, yep. And then?
My dad, and then I would say, okay, I'm going to shout out my friend Charlie. Charlie Lee. And what comes to mind is being around people that inspire you and that are on this journey, for me anyway, this journey of growth and wanting to create life on their own terms, and just people with a similar mindset to you. And I shout out Charlie because she's one of those people. And I would say, I think we're a collection, this is maybe a quote, we're a collection of the people that we spend most time with. And I want to be around people that want to get the best from life and want to, they're just living a life of love and not fear. And
life of courage.
Life of courage, to go in courage.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Well, big shout out to Charlie and your dad.
Yeah.
Thinking about your own business.
Yeah.
What kind of steps of courage did you have to find yourself, choosing in order to push forward with that?
The uncertainness when it comes to having your own business and not knowing what's going to come, what's going to happen, not having security and stability. at least at the beginning. I mean, there's still an element of not having that. But yeah, I think when it comes to working for yourself, that element of like security, it might not be there. And yeah, the trusting. I mean, I didn't have really a plan of like what has come now at the beginning. I did probably go with the flow at first, but there's this quote, when they build it they will come.
Yes,
from Field of Dreams. Yeah. My mum's favorite film. And this is what I always come back to, because that's what's happened. You know, the yurt that I teach in, for instance, that's 2 minutes from my house, and that wasn't planned. But I had the opportunity to teach there, and then as soon as I did, I also started my business in the new year 2 years ago, so it was the perfect time moving into the wellness space, and literally people came, and then it built. People need it. And I was there,
and you were there,
and they came.
Here I am.
Yeah,
in your authenticness.
Yeah,
amazing, incredible. All right, so what advice would you give to those who are struggling with fear? Maybe there's a touch of anxiety, maybe there's panic attacks, maybe it's not even that intense. Maybe there's just a underlying fear that has been dormant for a long time. Based on your experiences, what would you say to them as a first step, maybe a second step?
Yeah. I think fear is actually a really good indicator. Obviously, there's a level of it that's there to keep us safe, but it's also an indicator of something is important to you, especially if it's been there for a long time. So instead of fear being this big, scary thing, I like the idea of like, and another coach has said this before, so I'm not going to steal it, but making fear your friend and moving towards it, taking small steps rather than this thing being overwhelming and big. And that's what we do in coaching, is we simplify it, that journey of A to B, and how do they get there. We just simplify the process and slow it down as well. And so I just think, it's an indicator of something there is important, and everything that we want is on the other side of fear.
So I've heard that, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I want. What do I do to get there? I have no idea where to start. What would you say?
I think someone that can walk alongside you, like a coach, is a great form of support. Or having a friend that maybe can keep you accountable. But yeah, someone there to help you, because often fear keeps us stuck. So having something to move you forward that will get you there quicker will be helpful.
And what's interesting about that is you're talking about someone, a friend, a coach, etc. So then that ties into what you were saying before about community, and how we all need people to lean on, which is quite important. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, sharing your fear with someone.
Yeah, it's not the most exciting thing to do, is it?
No, no. Someone you trust. Start there.
I know earlier on you said you went to Byron Bay. That was a favourite place. And I know you've travelled a bit. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about where you've travelled and what kind of courage you needed to take that step to get into that.
So I moved to Australia when I was 24 and lived there for 3 years. Actually, I moved to Vancouver after this, Vancouver, Canada, without having stepped foot in Canada. I moved to Canada.
Just decided.
Yeah. So
okay,
that's definitely a very courageous experience, time in my life. It was somewhat spontaneous. I moved from Australia to Canada. I think I started to find the what really excites me is actually in the unknown, in the uncertainness of what could happen and what could come, and what opportunities could come really excite me. And actually what I found from moving to places that were new and I didn't know many people, and sometimes I didn't know anyone, is that actually I really thrived in that environment, because it was like, okay, this is completely new. I can just start afresh, or a period here where it's completely just new, and I just thrived in it. I don't know. I tend to think about it and wonder why, but it just gave me strength, more strength maybe than being somewhere where I was really familiar with. So for me, I like to think about the unknown as a really exciting thing, because so much could come, and also looking back on my experiences of what happened, like I would have never have guessed some of the things I ended up doing if I looked back years ago, if someone would have told me. So if you put yourself out there to the universe and you're open, it's amazing what can happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's this, what was it? I've lost it. So it is in alignment with what you're saying. And it's the whole thing about, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? But what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't go wrong? What if it goes amazing? To have that kind of, I'm not saying being blindly naive to thinking everything's going to work out, but like to go in with that sort of attitude.
Yeah. And I guess it takes more courage to be able to look on that viewpoint, rather than we're biased to look on the negative all the time. But actually, what's the other side of the coin? Like, so much positivity and new experiences and new paths can be created, and you're doing things that you would have never known that you would have liked. That's why I love trying new things, because how do you know you don't like something unless you try it?
Yeah, totally.
Maybe you find something that is like a passion, and maybe even your why in life.
Totally. Yeah, because I think it's like going to a restaurant, isn't it? Like, and having the same dish every time and then saying, oh, that's the one I like. And it's like, have you tried everything else? No. It's like, it's great that you like this thing and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So why not try something else, Yeah. Yeah, I'm around fussy eaters a lot. So, that might have been a triggering point for me there. Okay. And then, sorry, just to recap on your travels. So Australia, Canada.
Yes. I spent some time in Morocco as well.
Oh, Morocco. What was that like?
Amazing. It was such a beautiful country, so much colour, it really enlivens the senses. Like if you think of Morocco and you think of like all the pictures of the spices, the spice markets and the desert, and they've got goats in trees.
Goats in trees?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just like, literally there's goats up trees.
Okay.
There's a fun fact.
Yeah, Morocco.
Yeah. Argan oil, famous from Morocco. I lived a life of like very like simplicity there, just teaching yoga every day. I learned to surf.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Cool. Lived in this little surf town. So yeah, but that was really, really cool. I love being in different settings with different cultures, like learning different cultures. I think this whole thing of just opening the mind to how other people live and it not being like a division. It's just you're seeing the way someone else is living, and you're just a level of kind of appreciation and like love for it. And I just love traveling to different places, different culture where it's completely different.
So if you compared Jessica now, and maybe there's an opportunity for you to go and live somewhere you've never heard of, maybe you've heard of it but you've never been there, and you compare that to Jessica back then who hasn't traveled anywhere, can you see a big shift in the terms of the courage that you have within you?
Yeah. Oh my God, I feel like a completely different person to, say, Jessica when I was 16, 18, 20. So different, completely different versions. So much more confident, so much more, so many things. Just like open, happier, comfortable in myself, through just exploring and journeying and putting myself in situations that were a bit scary and that I had to develop courage. Go in courage for.
You literally going in courage, aren't you? Because you're actually going to places, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're on brand.
You're welcome. Completely different versions. that's why growth's so important.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I think as well, like, you know, and I come from this angle because I was so scared of traveling. I'm going back a long time, but I was just petrified of traveling. What if this happens? What if that happens?
Yeah.
I was struggling with anxiety back then as well. So for me, it was always like, I don't know if I'll have the resources that I need, you know, all that kind of thing. And I've gone through a lot of that and worked through a lot of that. But still, my mind does pop up every now and then. If there's a trip planned or something, there's this little freeze that happens on the inside.
Yeah.
That I go, oh, I'm still holding on to a little bit of that, or there's a little bit of memory of what that feels like, which is, I guess, for me, asking people who've travelled is really interesting because I'm like, oh, what goes through your mind, you know, when you do those sorts of things.
Yeah. At the end of the day, anything can happen anywhere.
It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Do you know what? On that, it's a little bit off topic, but I think attachment can be quite dangerous. So if I'm super attached to my house, super attached to my, I don't know, this bed, that sofa, this car, etc., there's so much fear surrounding that, the fear of loss, right? But when you detach from that, or you get to a place where you're like, actually, I am grateful. It's not like these things aren't meaningful to me, but they don't define who I am, and they're not part of my identity. And so you're not building a house that you go and live in. You're building a house within you so that wherever you go and whatever you do, you can access that, I'm going to use your word, energy, to keep you moving forward.
Yeah. I love that. Definitely. Yeah. We need to resonate more with the home inside of ourselves than a place. Because when I think about the different places I've lived, I have actually felt at home in every place, which is quite amazing. I think I'm fairly adaptable anyway to different places now, but I think I felt somewhat fulfilled in all of the places I lived in and comfortable and could have seen a future in all of them. But probably because I had that connection with myself and it got stronger over the years. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm thinking about people who are listening. Maybe they want to connect with you a little bit more, maybe look at what offerings you provide. And I am, I am coming from the perspective of people who are trying to build courage in their lives. Yeah. So if there's someone listening today that said, oh, really interested in what she has to say, what Jessica's experiences were, things like that, can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love that.
How can they do that?
So I've got a website, serendiawellness.com.
Right.
And Instagram, serendia.wellness, Facebook. I'm quite active on Instagram, so they can hit me up there.
Hit you up there. Down with the
Send
cool
me a
stuff.
DM.
Send you a DM. Amazing. So the website, thank you for that. There'll be links in the description below. And that is for your coaching, yoga teaching.
Yes. And the massage therapy.
Yeah. And I think there's sound healing.
Look,
I'm remembering these. Anything else?
So I've got a retreat coming up, a yoga and wellness retreat in Spain this year. So June 15th to the 20th. Be going out with a group of people to Andalusia in Spain, so southern Spain, a mountain retreat.
Oh, wow.
It's stunning. I visited in September. Basically 5 days in nature, in a very peaceful and spacious setting, delving into yoga, experiencing yoga and all of the parts of it and the 5 elements of nature. So,
wow. Yeah. I've seen some of the reels that you put up on Instagram and it looks incredible. Is it the same place that you've been to before?
That's it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Serendia. What does that mean?
Yeah. So it is it's a made up word that has a lot of meaning in the core of it. So when I lived in, I think I didn't say, but I lived in Mexico as well.
Oh, you lived in Mexico as well? Wow.
And when I was there, I started my business there, actually. So this was in actually through the pandemic. And someone developed the name for me. So I got some branding done so basically it has some Spanish roots in the name. So Ser, the first 3 letters, means I am, the verb I am in Spanish.
Right.
And then also my favorite word, which is serendipity, is merged into it. So it's a combination of a few words. So Serendia. So it's a combination of I am, as in embracing being present and conscious, because my tagline is conscious wellness. And serendipity, which is about embracing life and finding fortune in discovering fortune where you didn't mean to find it, in a way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole kind of romantic notion around that as well, isn't there? I think there's a film, isn't it, called
There is, yeah.
Do you know, I've never seen it.
It's so good.
Kate
Beckinsale,
that's it.
and John Cusack.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes, it's very romantic.
Is it?
It's actually a Christmas movie. Good Christmas movie.
Oh, we just missed out.
Late. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and I think from what I understand, I haven't seen it, but from what I understand, there's a chance meeting, and then that impacts their lives.
Yes, they go. They both go and grab a pair of a glove, one glove each, and then the story unfolds. But...
Okay, cool. Wow, that's a great name. Good branding.
Yeah, he did amazing. Yeah.
So it's serendia.com for the website. Okay.
Serendiawellness.com. Sorry.
Serendiawellness.com. Well, I'll put it up so people get the right link.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. If you were saying goodbye, which you were about to, it's been great talking to you.
That's gone so quick.
But what would be your key takeaway points? Now, I ask this not from what you want to give to people, but if you think about who's listening, what would you want them to take away from our conversation today?
I would say, what is that niggle? That just came to me right now. Like, what is the fear or the thing that you need to move towards with courage, and take some time, some reflection time, some quiet time to think about it, as this maybe has brought it to life or light. And so take that moment of self-awareness and
go encourage.
Use the courage journal.
Oh, the courage journal. You've used the courage journal.
I have. Yeah.
So should we do some live feedback? Tell me how it's been helpful for you.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I think the prompts are really simple, just to get you thinking, and also developing gratitude, which I think is a great practice and very simple practice to already acknowledge what's already good in your life. And yeah, it's a nice way of I just love journaling. I love writing. Sometimes we think it's going to be hard or that nothing's going to come up, but as soon as you put pen to paper, it's like you end up writing an essay. So maybe not enough pages.
No. Not enough pages, yes. Well, it is volume 1. There'll be another volume out soon.
Yeah. So no, it's great. Go buy it.
Yeah. We should collaborate. We should.
Because
you love journaling as well, right?
I do.
It's really good to get your insights. You heard it here first.
We can develop a Go Encourage / Serendia Wellness, a new volume 5.
Yes. Let's do it. Let's look into it at the very least. Yeah. Amazing. I just want to say that for people who know me, have known me for a long time, yoga, meditation, journaling, being overly active physically, I just thought it was baloney. I thought it was just, what a waste of time. Honestly, I was so into my productivity and getting things done.
Yeah.
And I'm an achiever by nature. I don't have time for this stuff. I literally don't have time for this stuff. Nor do I want to do any of this stuff. And so I guess I'm making the point here where that's my terrible studio etiquette there. I guess I'm making the point that you don't know until you try it, and so you alluded to that earlier on, where there's so many options out there. How do you know you don't like something until you tried it? And I went in skeptical with each of these things, and they've been so powerful. Vision boarding, affirmations, all of this, in my eyes, nonsense, has been absolutely incredible part of my journey, at least in the last couple of years. So I'm just throwing that out there for anyone who's listening. You seem to have that sort of in your daily practice, which is amazing. And another thing you've said is it doesn't have to be long periods of time,
Yeah.
So it'd be a good place to start.
Yeah, and it can always change. Be open to changing what you do based on trying new things to begin with, like trying to be able to know what you like, what works for you. It just comes from practice. Yeah. And I think we need more than one thing. We always need more than one thing. So yeah.
We need variety, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, it was a pleasure having you on Go Encourage today.
Thank you.
You enjoyed yourself?
I did, yeah. It's been great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. It'd be great to have you back in the future as well.
I'd love
as
that.
we unpack the courage journey. Let's see which country you end up in next. That would be cool. All right. So if you've been listening to that today and you feel motivated to make a change, you feel like you have some questions to move forward, then you can get in touch with me via Instagram. I'm pretty good with the DMs, I would say. Or you can also get in touch with Jessica as well. Links are going to be in the description, and Jessica has kindly agreed to reach out back and answer some of your questions as well.
Bye.
All right, whatever you're doing in life, keep moving forward and go encourage. I'll see you on the next one. Hey, really hope you enjoyed that episode and there was something in that resonated with you. Maybe there's something in your life. Maybe there's a niggle. Maybe there's a niggle that is just not going away, and you need to address that or face that fear. If that's the case, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Jessica. If you think it's bigger than either of us, do reach out to get some help and try and really attack whatever it is that's keeping you down, keeping you in a place where you can't move forward. All right. If you haven't already, yes, hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're on the other platforms where you're listening audio, do follow, like, etc. All right. I shall see you on the next one. Keep moving forward. And of course, go encourage.